They see me rolling, they hating. Got cheeseburger in one hand and fries in the other. I'm riding dirty, I'm riding dirty. Got fries in my beard, got crumbs in my pants. I'm riding dirty. I don't know what that intro is. I just thought of it. They see me hating. I be rolling. Sorry, there's a reason why I should be a singer forever, any reason at all. What a fucking intro. You never know. You never know what you can expect from good old gaming counselor when it comes to intros. Just, you fucking never know. But you know what we do know is that Edge of Fate was horrible, but apparently Bungie didn't realize that. That's right. Apparently Bungie's like, whoops, we didn't want a dead game. So we're going to talk about a lot of information that's come out from interviews. IGN did an interview on the Destiny 2's director, right? So let's go see what they had. There's some other information that we'll see if we can cover at the same time. I just thought it was too fucking funny. What a headline. We don't want to be a dead game. Destiny 2's director on reassessing the shooter's future. Man, it's almost like when you don't fucking listen to your community, that's what you get. It is insane. So here, we're going through the article. It may be one of the most influential and widely played games online. I don't know about that, Chief. Influential, mostly played. I think that's copium. Like, let's be honest. That's fucking cope. And developer, it's experiencing a rough patch as of late, you know, for the past year or two. And developer Bungie knows it. For years now, Destiny has been on this steady hardening of the core audience, explains game director Tyson Green. More and more core players are staying and playing the game. Your Honor, I would like to present evidence A of that is bullshit. Even your core players aren't fucking staying. Like, what are you talking about? There's less people playing Edge, like right now, than there was several, like, years ago. So, Your Honor, I would like to call out bullshit. More and more core players are staying and playing the game. Bullshit. But relatively few new people come into the game. True. There's a tightening and contraction, and this presents problems for a game that you're trying to maintain as a live service, especially when you want to keep serving those core players with great, compelling expansions. Are those great, compelling expansions in the same room with us? Following the launch of the Edge of Fate expansion in July, Destiny 2 saw a slump in player activity, not necessarily due to the vision of its new storyline, but rather, yes, it does. It absolutely has to do with the vision. Like, some people just could not give a shit about the 9. Some people love the 9. It's very mixed. It's a mixed bag. But rather in how it redesigned the flow, power progression to see the campaign through. Since then, Bungie is steadily working to make changes to build up its audience again, and the upcoming expansion, the Star Wars theme Renegades, will mark the developer's next effort to lay a better path forward for evolving its universe. Even though it's fundamentally ignoring the core issue that people don't like the portal, not only do you have content creators, but you also have Bungie themselves continue to push for the evolution of the portal, and people just want it to go the fuck away. And that's just not my self-insert. The wide community does not like the portal. And listen, I'm not trying to say that I speak for all the community. I don't. But you see it in other content creators' videos. You see it in the comments, just masses, ways, forums, Twitter. It's all over the place. It's not like, oh, this is just a one Redditor upset about something. This is a community-wide issue. And no matter how many content creators want to gaslight you and Bungie wants to gaslight you into thinking like, oh, people want the portal. No one wants the fucking portal. They like certain aspects of the portal that could be put into the main game, but no one likes the portal except for like a small population. For many developers working on online games with live service elements, calcifying your player numbers has been a recurring obstacle. Often this can be simply a matter of time. Destiny has been running around for nearly 10 years. I think it's 11 now. And it's inevitable that only the most dedicated will stay for the entire ride, but one of Destiny's most recent hurdles is one of its own making. Bungie wrote an end to the story. Yes, imagine that. Since the first Destiny arrived in 2014, each expansion update has formed chapters of the Light and Darkness saga, a decade-spanning, lore-dense story. But with the 2020 expansion, The Final Shape, Bungie brought the saga to an end, and I like the Final Shape. It wasn't it's not like over the top. I still think Forsaken is a better expansion. That's me. I think Aldrin was a better villain, and just how he portrayed himself as villainous. But it's whatever, right? I'm glad that The Final Shape was at least what we got, especially when you compare it to Renegades and Lightfall, right? It did, of course, set the stage of what's next, another multi-year storyline with a brand new focus. However, much like the current state of the post-endgame Marvel Cinematic Universe, this presents an issue with Destiny 2. And I've said this, that they are literally following and making similar mistakes as Marvel. Where many longtime and casual players saw it as a natural endpoint to their journey, as you can imagine, this has made further adventures a bit of a challenge to present as a must-see experience. This is where most people expected Destiny 3 to come in. The Final Shape brought things to a crescendo, where it's like a fantastic ending that tied off a lot of threads, says Green. Apologies for coughing and catch that. People were pleased and satisfied with what they played. But then the big downward spike in population came after. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it was massive. It was pretty massive. That happened because we end the saga, so you get what you pay for, right? That wasn't the plan from the business perspective, Greens continue. We still want to keep... That wasn't the plan from a business perspective. Maybe you should have advertised that then. When your Guardians are overlooking the Traveler, and yes, they show the echoes, but it feels like an ending. Like you cap it off. The way it like you could have hinted. You could have done the most bare minimum. Like if they knew that they were doing the Fate saga, they could have like did a tease of the 9 in the background or something. Like, they could have done anything to make people think that the story is continuing outside of just showing echoes, which we know weren't received well. Like Revenant, Echoes, and Heresy barely was good enough, right? And we can tell because look at the data, right? Look at the data. The episodes were worse than any other season we have ever had, except for Ash and Iron. We're only going lower. We will want to keep making Destiny. We still have many stories to tell in this universe. There are still lots of things to do, and we have to keep building the game. Unfortunately, it was not gracefully managed, but we had to try something. It wasn't gracefully. When is anything gracefully managed? Like, this is coming from someone who's jaded with Bungie, because when you deal with Bungie for 11 years, you hear the same things over and over and over and over. And it's not that I'm tired of Destiny. I'm tired of Bungie, right? There's a clear difference. I'm going to ram and drill Bungie because I hate them as a company because they're incompetent. I love Destiny. It's a franchise that's enjoyable to me. I have a great time. It does present an experience that you can't really get anywhere else. You get similarities, like Warframe is similar, but not Destiny. Like, they live in their own worlds, and I'm glad they do, because if they were all just Destiny, then it would just, well, you'd hope that there might be, maybe competition could be a good thing. But, I mean, there's all these Call of Duty clones, and obviously, none of them have been successful. So, the first step toward providing a compelling reason to return to Destiny following the end of the Light and Darkness saga arrived in July's The Edge of Fate expansion, in which Bungie laid the groundwork for its next major storyline titled The Fate Saga. It transported players to a new region of space where they came into conflict with an enigmatic 9 faction. This new campaign introduced a new story thread and twists that shook up the lore in the series and was intriguing setup for the next phase of Destiny 2. I mean, I thought the butthole monster was cool. I didn't like that Maya Sundaresh, the wife beater, was the one that killed the butthole monster. It would have been cool if we did it. However, the expansion received mixed responses from dedicated players and struggled to bring new ones. The most controversial change was the refreshed power levels and a steep grind that made progression more daunting than intended, creating hurdles for reaching higher end activities. Green is frank in the assessment of the Edge of Fate. He recognizes that the expansion didn't deliver a more satisfying way for players to advance their characters. A hard but necessary lesson where it's just dry coughs coming out of nowhere, but necessary lesson for the development team to take. Maybe because I'm talking so much. We looked at the problem that we had after the final shape, and we said, we think there's a route here, which is leaning into more systems of pursuit. Power pursuit has never been something that players wanted. Yes, you may have some off-brand people that like the progress pursuit, but hold on. You know what? Let's look at the facts. Sometimes Google search is really nice. In 2023 and early 2024, Bungie largely removed the seasonal power level grind by eliminating the power of the seasonal pinnacle cap increase, allowing players to use their gear all the time. However, the grind was reintroduced with the launch of it. Yeah, so it met significant backlash. It's crazy. People have complained about power progression for years, and Bungie removed it and even slowed it down. They essentially made it to where expansions, you would level up, and then seasonal, you wouldn't. And the power progression was small, like it was like 200-300 levels, not like 500. Like, it is crazy. Oop, that's for a different time. It's crazy that they just don't listen and learn their lesson. This isn't like, oh, we didn't know that, like, players really want pursued power progression. And the answer is no. That is a blatant lie. We have historical evidence of them retracting and removing seasonal power progression because players complained about power progression. This was a known hatred. We're not talking about like, oh, we tested something that we've never done before. This has been tried, true, and tested, and no one fucking liked it except for your little Timmies and the random content creators. Set power, which is leaning to more systems of pursuit, getting new tiers of gear, which I liked, armor sets, and power progression. No one liked power progression. Don't lie to yourself. And things like challenge customization. Yeah. Green said these things can allow a core audience of players to really say, like, I'm going to take this game and put it through its paces and get good rewards. What ended up happening is everyone was in the mines. Sounds great on paper, but it didn't work, he admits. I think we've been taught a bunch of hard lessons about what our players... Why does it take you losing not 95% of your player base, losing Sony a negative $204 million for you to learn, and over 11 years, what your players want? If this doesn't showcase how little we're listening translates into we will listen when we actually care. We're going to take what you say and throw it out the window. And there are two kinds of live service games: those that listen to their players and respond, and those that don't. And you just it's like, do they know? Does Tyson Green even know? Like, does he live in a bubble? Those that listen to their players, it is baffling to me that in one sentence he talks about making power progression a system of pursuit, that people like, making it sound like people want to do this when they don't, and then saying that we want either you're a game that listens or you don't, and we don't want to be a dead game. Which is what you're doing. You're putting the nails in your coffin. By the way, this is the director. This is another head honcho. No, you thought Pete was just the problem. I love when we start getting developer interviews and the crack start showing, especially when you have Mercules, who's like a weapon dev, criticizing or making fun of people giving fair criticism. Like, all these devs coming out and with all these information, you're getting a bigger picture of how little Bungie seems to actually care or actually invest in listening. Like, I feel like it's all funneled to DMG, and then he picks one randomly from a hat and says, here's this, so that all these developers live in a bubble of, we don't listen to anything that the players actually want because it's not actually getting inside our bubble. Like, they've got a safety bubble where they live blissfully, not knowing anything that's going on. We want to keep building Destiny, so we're listening to our players. We're listening! And what our players are telling us is they don't want to chase a simple number that goes up. They want real rewards. This is something, again, 11 years. 11 years, and you still don't know what your community wants. You still don't know what your players want. And I'm not even talking about core players, even people who would be interested in the game. That there's multiple faceted issues, like the new player introduction and new experience. There's multiple facets of issues. And the portal was supposed to address new player experience, but it just made it more convoluted and confusing. Especially if you're a new player, you don't know what you need to buy and what you don't need to buy because, well, is it irrelevant now? Like, why did I buy this if it's irrelevant? Following the Final Shapes release, Bungie announced a change to its release plans for major expansions instead of a single yada yada yada. I'm skipping through this. I want to hear what the dev has to say. According to Green, the new release model that allowed the team to be more flexible with adapting to feedback, which is the development of Renegades. The consumer will be the one to actually decide whether you're being flexible or not. The new expansion not only reevaluates the current game flow and controversial system changes made early in 2024-25, but also presents a new campaign that hits at the same tone of the Forsaken. Again, you're comparing this to Forsaken is a bold fucking choice. Fucking bold as fuck. But also presents a new campaign that yada yada yada, darker edge Star Wars that filled with blaster weapons and lightsabers to acquire. One of the advantages that the new release yada 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 yada. So we saw what we wanted to do with our space western revenge story, which is what Forsaken was. And we figured, let's do it again. We did Forsaken, let's do it again. But this time in Star Wars. Let's aim for this. So we took the idea of Star Wars as total inspiration and built a Destiny expansion around it. That's kind of how we always do it. In this case, I think it comes through much more richly because it's being more deliberate with its influences and style, but it's fundamentally a Destiny expansion. Will you be playing Destiny? Yeah, because I'm doing a review on it. Wow, it's very divided, very divided. And if you put the 19% in the no, that's like almost over half. Like, holy. From my hands-on time of Renegades, it's clear that Bungie took away valuable lessons from the Edge of 8 release and post-launch content. I found the new campaign to be more direct in its objectives and offered a fairly... See, the campaign can be good. It's the after the campaign. It's the everything afterward. Right? Because the biggest issue with Edge of 8 wasn't necessarily just the story and campaign. It was everything after it. All right, so let's just continue on. When you're making something new, you often have a bunch of conventions and boundaries that you have to consider, especially for games that have been around for a long time, like Destiny. He said, it's tempting to stick to those conventions as being the boundaries of the rules. But the truth is that you need to re-examine all of them every single time when trying to create something special and make a splash. This is especially true when working with Lucasfilm. Yeah. We looked at how we made the sandbox stuff we've made. We now have blaster weapons that will stay with us going forward, seeing how the lightsaber-like practice blade turns out, and we have various syndicates that turn out well. There are things that we definitely would have done, but we had to accept and push past those usual boundaries to do these things. And as long as it's still fun, people are responding to it, and the feel is there, then it's the right decision. I'm still, there's so many big issues that need to be done. Like, Tyson doesn't want Destiny to be a dead game. Then you need to address the core issues here. How are you going to make the rest of the game feel relevant? Paid content should not ever be relevant. And I know Destiny, like, here's the thing. Destiny 1 did sunset stuff, like soft sunset stuff. And what I mean is, if you never played Destiny 1, it was a gradual, like, it was a leveling process. You would start at the base, you go through the story, you get gear, and then eventually it would drop off. Like, you can use it going forward to the next expansion, but you could use it going into it, and then you get new gear, and it was like a leveling. It was step by step by step by step by step. And so it worked enough that people weren't upset. Now, I was so upset that I can't use certain things. You can use it in PvP though still, right? And I think for a lot of people that was kind of like okay, because PvP was kind of like the mainstay for Destiny 1 was you played the story, you played raids, then you went into Crucible. Like that was the flow. And most people like Crucible back in Destiny 1. I think more people enjoy Crucible in Destiny 1 than they do in Destiny 2. I know that might be a hot take. Someone who's been around long enough, like me, sound off. Let me know what you think. But the progression system was better because you follow the line. The line, you followed the line, and yes, the power would drop off on your weapons. You can't use it anymore, except for PvP. But it wasn't like you didn't just load into Destiny 1 and be like, okay, all this is now pointless. You have to play the newest thing. Like Rise to Iron is the only thing that matters now. No, you can go Destiny 1, start from the bottom, and everything is useful as you make your way up through the story. And Destiny 2 doesn't do that right now. It just throws you into the game. It's like, what the fuck? So it's poor. It's poorly done. Paid content should never, in my opinion, ever be irrelevant. It should always be relevant. Whether it's just for power, I'm not saying we have to update and make weapon perks and everything constantly. I do think it should always, like, if I want to go farm Vol Glass weekly for power, then I should, or Salvation's Edge, because I know Vol Glass isn't paid, but Salvation's Edge, or the dungeons. I want to farm dungeons. I want to go solo and play and get loot and power level that way. Then I should be able to do that. Like, you pay for the product. You should be able to play the product in any way that you want, and it should still allow you to progress toward the end goal of whatever the goal may be. That's my thoughts. Short video for you. Hit the like button, comment down below, and let me know what you think down below. We got several other articles to check out. I'll see you in the next one. As always, don't forget to game out. Huzzah!